All right, so this is a updated video on sharp practice. I did a play test on Saturday. Frostcalp helped me run through a game. Took 4 hours of life, 4 hours of his life, and we had lots of he had lots of feedback and a lot of some things I picked up too that needed improvement. So this is the updated video. I'm going to replace it with the old video. So real quick, I'm going to go through the cards. To set the cards up, you go to configure deck, you hit reset deck. You're going to get all the cards, and then you just merely delete the ones you don't want. And when you're done and you're satisfied, some more cards here. You hit confirm deck, and you're ready to go. So let's shuffle these. Whoops, let's shuffle these back in there, and then we can start drawing our cards at the tiffin, right? So the turn's over. So when you just get the tiffin, you just shuffle it, and you just go back again. Now the reason there's delete buttons on here because like here I got three flags, so now I can do an interrupt. I can take an action with a leader that's on the board that hasn't yet gone this turn. And so when you do that, you can just go and you can delete them and they get put in the discard pile. They don't go back in the deck. They just go to the discard pile. And here I'll prove it to you. We'll run out of cards here in a second. And then it says, oh, you're all done. So it just goes back in the discard pile. When you do, you just shuffle. Okay, so that's the cards. Pretty easy. Nothing to it. Pretty slick. I made this window kind of where you could see through, just so it doesn't block. And this also, by the way, is the wood theme. Now, each player is going to get their, it says players right here. You're going to make your own character sheet. So you get your character sheet. It's going to be a nation. That's the character sheet. On the character sheet, you open up your force leaders. In this case, it's Chief de Battalion, as you know. He's a level 3 status leader. And all you do is you just drag them. That's it, right? That's it. You're done. It's automated. Okay, so the next thing you could do is you can go grab your units. So I can grab British Rifles here. And you can see all the data is put in there. I added a block for period so that you can keep your stuff separated. And the sort, you can sort it by period down there. And then there's another tab here. I just added some their weapons are because that's going to be handy. Quick reference to that. And so when you want to add those, you're gonna have to like hit the little plus arrow and then make a little room there, and then you're gonna add your British Rifles to it. That's all there is to it. So the next thing I did is you take each of the players and you add them to the combat tracker. And when you do that, they can click on this little sword, and the client and the host looks the same, and it's all cross-linked and everything. So if I update his status, you can see it changes it there. Same thing on the units. I can go to 28. It's going to update it there. I think I'm going to go back in and add shock. I did this in case people wanted to use the character sheet. I don't think I am going to use it, but if you wanted to track shock on there, you can. I'm going to show you how to do it on the map with the tokens that I included with the token pack that goes with the cards for this game. So, but anyways, this kind of gives everybody a situational awareness on where their leaders are. How many wounds they've taken. You can even add little effects to them and say he's wounded or whatever special case happened. All right, let's go to the map. So this is a map that I built into Fantasy Grounds. I went and then exported it just to have all all on one layer. And then the other thing I'm using here is I have this, I have Joy of Painting extension. It's free. And so I took a palette and I added all the tokens I would need. So like if I need to add a shock, it's easily accessible. I could just drop it on the map, right? I can even make it a little bit bigger if I want. Spun it, right? So I could say that unit's got one shock, whatever, right? Probably a little smaller than that. Same thing, with present arms or uncontrolled volley, right? Or the smoke. I actually could see that I've got smoke on there, and I just kind of treat them all as tokens. So I think that works pretty well. So the other thing we saw, so like Hal here, he had 32 units, right? So when you add like 32 units and then all the cavalry and then the other group's units, it could make your computer bog down. So what I decided to do was make these tokens in groups of 4. So these are like 2 units, 2 by 2, right? And so like this representation of 8 units, okay, is basically these guys right here. Okay, so like if I drew a little thing, it would be like this is represented by that, right? Because they come in blocks of 8 if you're playing on a tabletop, okay? So really it's, the rank is, this is the rank, but I just kind of represented it by 4. And I did that because this map is representative of a 4 foot by 6 foot table, okay? And I did 1/2 inch square, grid squares, which equals about 12.5 millimeters. Okay, so you're looking at a 13 millimeter, 12 millimeter miniature, which is a small miniature, but it works, right? And so each token is 1 square, right? So when you drop these guys, all you have to do is size them so that they fill up 4 squares. And when you do that, it's you keep your dimensions, right? Everything's scaled properly. And so that's why those guys are a little bit bigger. The other thing I did was I painted facing indicators on them. So you could see that these guys are obviously marching in a column, right? So if if I want to take them to a formation, right, I would just have to rotate that guy. I would spin this guy around, right? And then I would take this guy and probably lock him in right there. Actually, I could, per the rules, I could probably bring him down there. Same thing with this guy. And then this one would be able to go there, and there, and now I'm forming a line. Now, per the rules, because I have 4 columns, I would have to actually, I think I have to dice them or wait till next turn to do that. I think I can only do the 3 this turn. But then this will represent a 2 by 2, right? 2 in the front, 2 in the back, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and then if I draw a line, these 8 represent these 8. So that's kind of how I represented it. So I think it's probably gonna work for the best like this. That way you're not trying to move 32 tokens around. The other thing is like when you want to go move these tokens, all you do is you go to selection mode. This is really important. You just grab them all and you can move them all around the map. Okay. And look, there's like absolutely 0 lag because we're not dealing with 32 tokens. We're dealing with 8 tokens essentially. So there's that too. So anyways, that's how I handled the tokens. And then all of the tokens have facings on them. So there's British skirmishers. Zoom in a little bit. British rifles, right? But only the ones that are in formation always have that little 4, and then they scale down. So as they take damage, you make that 3, and then that units these guys. It's actually those guys would get the shock, right? And then those 2 are grouped together. So I'm open if anybody has any comments, but I think that's probably the easiest way to handle it. There's nothing stopping you from putting 32 tokens on there if you want, so it's completely up to you. That's how I handled it. So I think that's probably going to be it. We went over the cards. You know, use your distances. This is all in inches. Maybe it may not be set inches. Let's make sure it's set. It's not set properly. It's 8 inches. So, anyways, you can mess around with your own maps, figure out your own way to do it, but I think this is what works best. If you got any questions, let me know. If you're interested, like there's a whole bunch of free stuff out there like that people have done, and if you want to like put scenarios in that are not copyrighted, obviously, and trade them, then check out the forum post I made, and we can start sharing stuff on there. Anyways, thanks for watching.